Everyone. Thank you for another episode of Dear Younger Self, where we come together as women and we talk about, the lessons that we're trying to learn, the lessons that we have learned that we want to share with our younger selves. So over the course of the last month or so, I'm like, man, I've learned this lesson as an adult. I learned this lesson as an adult, but I wish I would have shared it with, my younger person, first so as the teenager or the elementary school person or whatever. So you've seen a couple series, and I am so excited to announce that I have Annette Cologne with us today, and she is going to share some of her biggest lessons and how she's applied them throughout her adulthood. Annette has been a fantastic person. We also met in the Extreme Execution Coaching Program. We saw each other at 120, although we didn't necessarily connect. So that's a funny story that we can even share with everyone. Yeah. But Annette is in New Hampshire. She and her family own a fencing company business. So we've had many talks about that because I'm like so interested in that business. Not because I want to be a part of it, right? And that, but because I'm like, how do you dig the hose? What equipment do you use? And she's been a source for me of just talking through things, right? Really understanding where we are now and getting to where we want to go, but also realizing and accepting and acknowledging where we were at some point. Mm-hmm. So I am going to have Annette take the floor and introduce herself more formally if she wants to, and then also be able to share her lessons with us. So thank you, Annette, for joining. I appreciate
it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And ever since you asked me to do this, my mind has been cranking on it because I think I'm in this phase of like growth and just learning myself a lot. So it's like the question's so deep. It's like, what will you tell your younger self? And you think like along the lines, I'm telling you, I had a notebook full. I'm like writing notes every day. And I'm like, what's important though? What are the parts that you really want to drive home? And I think it's all relevant. So I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you asking me to be a part of this. And I think it's great. And I told you this before when we talked about it. I have like a little bit of a selfish need to do this. And it's just because like, if I don't get it all out, like, how do you move on to the next level, right? Like I have all these lessons built. We don't appreciate the journey as much as we probably should. So I do appreciate you having me on and letting me be a part of this.
Of course, most definitely. So I'm not sure really quickly, do you see me frozen on your end?
All right. Anyway, yeah, I have two boys and they're watching them develop and become, have their personalities is so interesting because they're just little people that you're helping to mold and they have like everything in them. And it's so amazing to watch.
And it's so awesome that they're like, yes, let's do this, let's build, because they also have the mindset of like, this is our family business. I'm going to participate in it. So that's super dope and empowerment. I don't know what 16-year-old, honestly, like even thinking back in high school, I'm like, were there any 16-year-olds that I know that were like all about that life?
And I wasn't. I wasn't. And it's funny that you say that. This morning it snowed here in New Hampshire. It snowed over a foot. And my husband woke up not feeling too great with a little bit of a headache, but we got out of bed and we went outside and both my kids are outside shoveling. Without us having to tell them, I was like, look at them go.
Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, I have to credit that to Tommy. He's just so amazing with our kids. That's probably one of my points here later when we get into it about raising your kids and how us women do. But I love it. I love being a mom. I'm passionate about fitness. I love being an entrepreneur as much as I hate it because, right, it's like always, it's an ever-changing journey and you think, okay, I'm good here, but you got to level up. And it's in that level up that it's just so uncomfortable. And it's a love-hate journey.
Well, because it falls on you, right? Like people think this is a glorious kind of
Yes.
And it falls on you as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur and your family. You have to be everything at this point. I mean, I know you have employees, but for my husband and I, it's one of those things where it's like maintenance requests and collecting rent, and we haven't branched out to that point or gotten to that point yet. But
Yeah. That's a
um
whole nother conversation. We can have
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. So go ahead, share us. What are
you
one or two things that you're just like, you know what, I will tell Annette at this age this.
want me to, I got a whole list here, but I'm gonna try to start with some light ones, okay?
Okay.
Because other ones, and I'm disclaimer, I do not have it all together. I do not. I'm still learning
Who
these things,
does?
right? Some of the stuff I wrote down is stuff that I'm actively going through and I'm actively learning. And I'm like, okay, all right, this makes sense. And I'm making the dots connect going backwards. Like, had I done it this way, or if I taught myself how to, I'm an emotional being. Like that's just who I am. And so I'm going to start off light. So these two kind of tie together. First one was like, smile more,
Hmm.
smile more.
Made
And
me smile.
was that?
It just made me smile just by you saying that.
It's so important. And then not only for you, but for, like you said, the other people around you. And I remember going through like I want to say 14 to 17 years old, because this was like a period of time. And it was like many people, I had a tough upbringing, and it just molds you to be this harder person. And us as women, we let go of that softer side of us. And then we don't know how to even smile. Like I remember walking in places and people being like, damn girl, smile. And I'm like, and you just want to walk around with a mean bug because the world has molded you to be this harder version of yourself. And you don't understand how important it is just to have a smile on your face, to have a softer side, to be kind to the people around you. And how I have a little picture over here. It says, if ever around you it seems dark, you may be the light. And just that smile that you walk into a room with, and people say that, oh, when she walks in a room she glows, right? That's the real thing, having that kind of energy that radiates and it emanates in who you are when you walk in a room. And then people feel that it's energy. We're
Yeah,
energy being,
definitely.
and to be able to have that kind of energy that affects other people in a positive way, you have no idea how important that is.
I agree. I love that.
That's a light one. That's a light one. And I'm going to segue that to not growing up too fast.
Mm.
So in my childhood, I stopped living with my parents at the age of 14 years old. I had to hurry up and grow up because I ended up moving with my sister, and she had her 4 kids. And I basically had to help her raise those kids. And I was nothing but 14 years old. So how do you do that, right? How do you, at 14, you're just thrown into this life? And it was hard even before that, but don't grow up too fast. I immediately had this shift from when I was in 7th and 8th grade was my favorite years, because I was able to be a kid. I was able to do, fashion shows in school, and I was part of the drama club, and I did all the stuff that teenagers, should be doing. And then I got thrust into this kind of like adulthood, and school dances were not a part of my life anymore, and hanging out with friends that was age appropriate. And that's the part that I don't see in the world right now. You see kids on TikTok and doing all this stuff, and it's gearing towards like, just our kids are growing up too fast. And it's the culture that we live in right now. And it's, if I could tell my younger self, just slow down, because once you get there, there's no turning back. There's no turning. You get all these responsibilities on you, and it's like, damn, if I can just go back to when, and slow down and enjoy the journey. We don't do that enough. Like, slow down and enjoy the process of things. Enjoy being a teenager, going out on dates, and just having fun.
Carefree. Yes.
Yeah, be
Like the world
carefree,
doesn't
but
take
responsible.
you, yeah, as much, right? Like, so, and you've seen this meme, like adulthood is the worst hood. And I'm
Yeah.
not 100% in agreement with that, because we have certain freedoms and we are able to create the life we want. Whereas a teenager or your kid, like, you're under the rules and kind of guidance and stuff of your parents or whoever is your guardian. But at the same time, yeah, live carefree. You don't have any bills. Like, your food is
Yeah.
provided for the like, come
It is
on.
not hard to just be. It is not
Yeah,
hard just to be
yeah.
at that moment.
I love
And yeah, so that's part of it, I guess. Just be present in the moment. and enjoy the journey through life, because it happens so fast. And
Mm-hmm.
we're sitting here having this conversation because like we had to rush through things and not be able to, sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts, and use your intuition. Because as women, we have that. That's a gift of ours.
Yeah.
And we rush through, like for me specifically, I know I rushed through life in a way that I got disconnected from my intuition.
Yeah.
So like I started not to even trust myself. And now you're looking to the world for guidance and for stuff. And I'm going to use this now to segue into another one of my lessons. So lesson number 3, be conscious of your friends group. Be conscious of your friends group. I don't think everybody that you go through life with, or everyone who passes through your life, is meant to be in your life forever. Right? Everyone has a lesson to teach you. And I wrote somewhat of a biography that I sent to you before. And I kind of wrote it in a way like people come into your lives in the form of tools and lessons, right? So they have something to teach you, they have something to give you, they have something to leave you with. Some of them are good enough to be in your life for the long term because, they continue to add value and raise you up to self-actualization, which I think is what we're all looking to get, self-actualize, to be our best self, continuing the development and in your process. So looking backwards, I stayed in groups of friends for too long because they stopped adding value. And now looking back, they're still doing the same things that we did at 20 years old, at 18 years old. And they have their kids that are doing those things. And it's such a waste of time because not everybody that you have fun with has your best interests, right? They don't want to see you grow, so they pull you down. And if you're not even conscious of that, you're going to be stuck, just like you see people stuck. I remember.
What's that saying real quick that they're like, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I think a part of it too, and you can let me know how you feel, but loyalty is a big part of that. That was a big part of it for me, where it's like, man,
Yes.
you've been rocking with me since elementary
Yes.
school. But elementary school Crystal and middle school Crystal and high school Crystal are two different.
Absolutely.
So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. And that you have that. No, it's true. I have my group of friends and I love them. Do not get me wrong. I love them for who they are and the roles that they played in my life. Like they had things that they taught me and they helped me with, and they helped me through that phase of my life. But like you just said, you're ever changing. Who I am today in this moment is not who I am from last year, from yesterday even. And it should be that way. You should be developing yourself in a way that you're evolving. And if you see yourself running in the same circles constantly, and you hear the term the rat race of life, and that's a real thing. That's a real thing when you look back. And if you could think of, and this was a difficult thing, that loyalty that you're talking about, it's like, oh, but that's my best friend. That's my best friend. What makes that person your best friend? What is that term that we use? What does that mean?
Yeah.
I met you not too long ago. We've known each other for less than a year, and I've probably connected with you a lot more than I have with those best friends.
Yeah.
Like I talk to you more than I talk to them because and this may sound bad, but I've outgrown certain people in my life. And you can love
them. Yeah.
Yeah, you can love them for who they are and what they had to add to your life. That doesn't mean that you need to stay stuck where they're stuck. Because everyone should have certain dreams and aspirations and things that they want to achieve in their life, right? You see that picture of, someone, one person watering the other.
Yeah.
Because you should be growing. You should be growing. And then having those life experiences to give to your kids. So now they're evolving too, in a way that teaches them how to maneuver through this world. Because that's tough, man. It's so tough when I look backwards and I see the people. And the thing too is like being conscious of your friends. If I know I'm trying to give, like you call me all the time when you're going through something, you pick up the phone and be like, I just need to talk this through. And to have a friend that you can do that with, and they give you positive feedback, and it's not just a rant of negativity. It's not just, oh girl, we could do that too, but it's like, where's the growth in that? If all our friendship is talking negative and just complaining.
Yeah, it's balancing the good and the bad. There's some people that actually will just call you with the negative. And then they vent, they get it off their chest, which I'm all for it. You know, my background is in therapy. I'm all for it. But what are the steps you're going to take so that this is not a repeat conversation and it's draining for both parties? And then you're still sitting there in the same kind of stagnant, you know, not developing, not getting better. But loyalty was a big thing for me too. I literally had a group of girls that growing, in high school, we grew up together all 4 years. We had connections in college, but once we started working, we all went to different universities. And it was like we hadn't seen each other in years. And they're like, oh, well, let's do a road trip. And I'm like, well, we don't even know each other. Like, we're not, let's start off small before we start moving together after so many years. And quite honestly, I pissed off a lot of people
Yeah.
um for that bluntness, but it was like, why am I going to spend energy with people that I have no connection to anymore? Not that I don't want to reconnect, but it's just one of those things. And I think they are all growing, but we didn't know like you didn't even know my favorite color. It could have changed
Yeah.
from red to
Yeah. You're
blue.
not
Like
growing
you have no
together.
idea who I am. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
connection. So I say that with full honesty and just transparency in the sense of, how you're also messaging it too.
Yeah, and I heard this quote I'm gonna share. It says, "We only qualify to experience the people our consciousness gives us access to."
Mm,
Right, and that hit me real deep, and this kind of goes through the process of when you first asked me to do this, and I'm listening to stuff, and I'm trying to talk to my inner self and say, what did you need before? So I went through a phase in my life of, just drinking and chilling, 3 days, 4 days a week. It was just party stuff because we have these habits of, like, we feel we need to do something, but we don't know what that is, and so we self-medicate.
yeah.
Self-medicating is also alcohol and all, that kind of lifestyle. And those were the friends that I had. Always say baby, right? Like all that stuff, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, there's nothing to do today. Like, we don't have nothing productive to do. And it became a habitual thing of chilling in somebody's kitchen, drinking every day. And it's like, if that's all you're allowing your consciousness to have access to, where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
And thank God for my husband. Thank God
Mm-hmm.
for him, because he always kind of knew, okay, this is not what we need to be doing. We need to shift. I
Yeah.
would not be the person I am today without him. And again, it goes to become conscious of your friends group. It also goes to the partner that you choose in your life and the man that you choose in your life. Us as women, ooh, that's a whole nother podcast. But us as women, like we like, look at your mate. Who is he? What
Yeah.
is his character? Right?
Yeah.
And how is he guiding your family through this ever-changing journey? Because you should be changing. If not, I don't know how long I'd be stuck in that pattern of life if not for him. Right. And I think it's a beautiful thing when you have someone that you can grow with like that, and that truly has your best interests in at heart. And throughout that process, we got 2 boys. I don't know what it is to raise a man. I've
Yeah.
never been one. As strong and us women, like, that's another thing. Like, as strong as we are, as amazing as we are not equipped to do everything.
Yeah.
And we have to learn that. We have to learn that. That goes to my number 4. It's not your job to fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point number 4 that I would give to my younger self. Going backwards a little bit, when I had to move in with my sister, it was not my job to help her raise her kids. I was a kid and I was raising 4 children younger than me, not knowing what I was doing and missing out on my life. It's not your job to fix everything. And I'm a flight attendant as well. Secondary is pilot. So it's like, I get these instincts to want to do something, and then pilot jumps in and just goes.
Yeah.
And I feel people deeply. Like, I feel when I see someone struggling with something and I feel like I could do something about it, I want to help automatically. And I have to sit back sometimes with those feelings and just, I'm not equipped to do all that. And it's just, I think it's the nurturing side of women that we just want to help, and we want to do, and we want to be for everybody. And sometimes you don't even have enough for yourself. Can you take care of you first?
Yeah.
Can you handle what you got going on first?
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. So that's my number 4 is it's not your job to fix everything. And then
And I
again,
think Sorry, go ahead. I cut
No,
you
no,
off.
I was just gonna, like going back to my husband, like it's not my, like it's a woman's job to raise her babies to boys. It's
Mm-hmm.
the father's job to raise your boys to be men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's him who's instilled in them a work ethic that I don't even see in some men. Like my 16-year-old has a work ethic that I'm just, I love watching it. I love seeing him go about life and become the little man that he is, because it's just, it's a beautiful thing. And when you see that it's happening in a positive way, and I trust him. Will he get into trouble at times? I'm sure he will in this life. Like I'm sure he will,
Well, he
but
has to, right? That's only
yeah, but
natural.
like I know he'll come to me, he'll go to his
Yep.
father and he'll figure it out. And this, I think they need that bit of resilience.
Yeah.
Me and you had a conversation once when you asked me about your son. I think this was when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
And it was those things that I used to be the kind of mom that was like, oh no, don't do that. Oh no, get off there, don't climb, don't do this. And you're protecting them from all these things. And as women, that's what we do, but they need it.
Yeah.
They need to climb, they need to explore, they need to experience things for themselves so that they know, okay, resistance, I don't need to be doing that. And then it builds that tough exterior that boys need to become men. Right now we live in a culture that you hear everyone saying, you know, there's a bunch of weak men out there, and there is, and there's a divide between us as women. There's a lot of single women raising boys to be men, and what it would be for a strong, healthy man to raise boys to be men. I mean, can you even imagine that difference and what the culture would be if we had more of that?
Yeah.
And again, it's not my job to fix it, because I am not equipped. I am not equipped. So I got to step back and allow him space to do his job.
Yeah. And you have said that self-awareness of, right, but look at the history too. You left your house at 14. You were taking care of everybody else's kids. You probably felt a sense of loyalty to your sister because she brought you into that situation. So you didn't want to be a burden. You wanted to show her that you were kind of, what's the word, earning your welcome or earning your
Right.
stay. And
Yes.
you lost that sense of childhood because you were thrown into this situation. And then how easily that can be transferred over to adulthood. But what you're saying
Yeah.
right now is that you're identifying how your childhood has affected you and not applying those same things to your adulthood and letting your husband be the man. And you shared with me your family values and how amazing you guys come together, and vision and goals and dreams and journaling and all that awesome
All of
stuff,
it.
positive music, to start even the day. Like those things were what you needed when you were a child, but you're analyzing it, assessing yourself, assessing your situation, bringing awareness to it,
Yeah.
changing your adulthood and applying those things
Right.
um, to
That's
adult.
what they call those the generational curses, right?
Oh, girl, please.
My
Yeah.
parents, what my grandparents taught my parents to be was one thing, and they can
Yeah.
only teach us what they knew, unless they raise their consciousness enough to like realize, okay, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
This is not what family is. They
Mhm.
couldn't teach us that. So they did. I mean, I'm not mad at you. You did the best with what you had to do, but I can't look at my kids and say, I'm going to raise them the way that I was raised. And we fall into that pattern. So that's what breaking generational curses is. You see, recognize the pattern, be
Yeah.
aware of what you needed, and now give that to your kids.
Love it.
Right. I once said in that extreme execution, you are uniquely positioned to help the person that you once were.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I've always had it in my heart. It's always been in my heart. And I told Tommy this years ago, I want to help broken women, because that's a pandemic too. Like women not feeling like they have anything to offer the world, not feeling like their only value is in what you look like, feeling
Yeah.
like that's all you have to offer is your body and what your looks are. I'm sorry, no, that's not
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like you have amazing things inside of you. You have so much to offer the world. As a woman, like we are extremely creative, intuitive, nurturing. Like that's a necessary thing for the men as well. So when I think back on like what I needed, I have to become what I needed. And this, again, I learned this from Tommy. I love him. He's so amazing. I learned this from
Love
him
it.
too. Become what you needed, right? And now
Yeah.
you're sacrificing yourself for everyone else coming up underneath you.
Yeah.
Because if I need it, they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can learn to work together as a family. We can learn
Yeah.
who we are. We can learn what motivates you, what drives you. Now you can only get rid of a bad habit by replacing it with another habit, right? So like your life is built up over habits. It's what are your routines? What are you doing every day?
Yeah.
The only way to get rid of a habit is to replace it. Now, what are you replacing it with? A positive
Mm-hmm.
habit or
Mm-hmm.
more negative habits?
Yeah. This is awesome because as children are growing up, single family, well, for me, I'm going to speak for myself, single mom, she used to put up sheetrock, paint, change to
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, I got to be that strong woman. And
Mhm.
I did. Like, I benefited from being a strong teenager, a strong middle school student, a strong college student, even. But once you become coupled with someone else who's also strong, it's awesome that you guys have your designated roles. You know what Tommy's helping, your kids with, what you're going to come in with. And those roles are important, especially for each other's self-esteem, right? If my husband is
Yeah.
overtaking some things that I'm responsible for, I'm like, what do you think? I'm not good enough? Like, what's going on? And not,
Yes.
it's hard to balance it. But once you have that partner for life, you're like, you know what? We fit. This is our styles of parenting or styles of maneuvering our business. Um, and just like you, my husband and I have the real estate business. So I get just the different roles, and having that awareness is awesome. So thank you so much for sharing.
This is one of those new things too, because I gotta learn. I'm so hard-headed. I'm emotional, and the pilot in me just wants to go, go, go. And I'm like, I got this, I can do it. I could prove to you that I can do it, but I shouldn't be doing it. Like, just
Mhm.
because you can do it does not mean you should be doing it.
Yeah. And
And
you
it's
don't got to
still,
prove to anybody, right?
I'm
To
learning.
ourselves. It's our own like ego kind of thing that we're working with.
Yes. And so it happens. Like if you're doing all the tasks that your masculine is supposed to be doing, what is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
How does he fit into that puzzle? Again, allow him space to do his job. And then from him winning, we're all gonna be winning.
Yeah.
Like let him lead you.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
okay,
trust,
sis. It's
yeah,
okay. Let him lead you.
yeah, let him lead you. If you trust the partner that you chose, and that again, be conscious of the people that you put in your circle. So if you trust the partner that you chose to lead you and allow him space to lead. And that's one that I'm working on regularly. Because again, in business and it's a fence company. When we started, I was out there digging holes. I was out there pushing concrete wheelbarrows. You do what you got to do as an entrepreneur starting out. And so now I know how to do all these things. Does that mean I go out in the field and I distract him from doing his job? No, know your role.
Know your
Right,
role.
stay in your
Yes.
lane, stay in your lane. And again, 7 years in and I'm still learning how to just back up and let things be. Let even then let people make mistakes sometimes, because how else are they going to learn?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Annette, thank you so much for sharing your top 4 tips and lessons. Where can we find you? If we want more information about who Annette is, who your family is, share your information with us, please.
I think the best way to find me would be on Instagram, and that would be _tinybeast. I also have a link tree there. So if you want more information about my fitness coaching, extreme execution coaching, you will find it on there. And then just message me on Instagram.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again. Loved having you. And I am sure this is going to help a number of women, teens even, to really think through, okay, what am I doing now that can help me transform, not to grow up too fast, but it's good to have this awareness even at that young age. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No problem.